Hi, it's Hazel, and welcome to my channel. This is part 4 in the What's in My Bookcase Botanical sub-series. I'm glad you're here. I'm going to begin with this one simply because I didn't drag all the copies over and I don't want to forget to mention it. So this particular one is called Wildflower Gardening, and it's a Time Life encyclopedia of gardening. You can see an ultra glossy cover. These books, hot pink. These books probably, well, okay, let me give you a date first. There is a whole series of them, 1977. You can almost tell by their hairdos. So the books are a combination, and the paper is glossy, a combination of these full page color photos, which are good for, turning into, like folding in half and turning into pages in a journal, or what I usually like to do is make envelopes. The best part of the book, in my humble opinion, is at the back, where you have all these watercolor illustrations. Now, as you can see, they are back to back. So this is why, even if you have, the titles in the series that you want, it's a good idea to keep your eye peeled for, second copies, so it's easier to deconstruct and use them to full advantage. So you can see lots and lots and lots of those. Now, of course, the number of illustrations depends on the category. So what did I say this was? Wildflower gardening. I won't be able to remember all the titles, and I can't see them from where I'm sitting, but there are books dedicated to cacti and succulents, bulbs, orchids, roses, annuals, perennials, gardening under light, trees and flowering shrubs, trees, like you name it. I think I have like 17 different ones. Some, sort of 70s era photography that, again, you probably would have a use for, as well as, some interesting numbers and larger font there in the titles to do something with. So these sorts of things that are good in collage as well. So I happen to score probably almost a complete collection at a very affordable price. So of course I grabbed them when I could. It is something that you probably would benefit from having in your collection, especially if you're just starting out and want some really delicate little illustrations to use. Now this falls under the category of lessons learned. This was shortly after I fell into the world of junk journaling and paper crafting and this sort of thing. And I was at an antique store. I don't know, was that mistake number one? I was in an antique store and I saw this cover, or this book, and I thought, oh my goodness, is that not beautiful? The back is slightly embossed. It's a, petite little size. The cover is unbelievable. It had a dust jacket, but it was more ripped than it was intact. So I paid $30 for it. Beautiful end papers. This, and I don't know what language this is. This, Niagara Falls, what is that, I don't know what that says, Niagara Falls, anyway. And then May 1906. So every part of my naive little brain is saying, well, this is up 1904. So Zurich. This book has to be in the public domain. Well, no, it isn't. Now, you can say I've taken it apart, but look at these illustrations. So, of course, is that the first one? So, of course, my intention was to scan it and create digitals. Like, look at this. considering it's over 100 years old. Is that not absolutely phenomenal? And one-sided. But when I did some research at home, and of course, none of these things, you know, there's no big flashing lights and, you know, neon signs saying public domain or in copyright. So it takes a bit of investigative work. And at this moment, and look at that, in this moment, or, you know, the last time I looked, this book was still in copyright. And, you know, so someday I might have to just begin using these pages and chalk it up to a lesson learned. So, yeah, and I mean, if you're spending just a little bit of money, you know, it's worth the chance, but that was kind of an expensive lesson in the School of Hard Knocks. Okay, so I think this, not that there's, you know, I don't want to denigrate field guides at all, because we know that that they're wonderful and usually fairly available and usually affordable. So this one is called A Field Guide to Edible Wild Plants, East Central North America. It's again a Peterson title. So there's a combination of black and white line drawings. The paper is matte. Excuse me, interesting index pages for collage or whatever. And then, of course, the, oh, there's no, it's all black and white. What the heck? Oh, no. Here are the color ones. So these are fairly tiny, you know, not that they're not usable, but tiny, and like I say, the paper's a bit glossy. So I'll try to go through these guides a little more quickly because, of course, I have other types of books to show you as well. Excuse me. Alpine Beauty. Alpine and subalpine wildflowers of the Canadian Rockies and the Columbia Mountains. Now, I don't know what the Columbia Mountains are. You can see that they've divided it by color families. I've said this before in relation to other field guides. It's kind of nice when the description of the illustration or the photograph is on the same page, because then if you rip it out, you can, of course, include it just in an envelope in a journal, or you can hinge it and create a page. Now, this almost looks like, oh, and I forgot to tell you the date on that other one. Oh, this is 2007. I would find it hard to believe that that was sewn in, but no, I don't think so. Let's just pull this one back for a second and tell you the age. This is older, I would say. Oh, cool. 77. Okay, let's speed this up. Canadian Nature Guide, Wildflowers, Pamela Forey. So this is a coil-bound book. First edition, copyright 1990. So those are very tiny. Not that they're, you know, not discriminating on size at all. Those would make cute little decorations when you need something really tiny. Now, again, wildflowers are not the most, you know, they need camouflage and so on, and are probably not growing in the most ideal conditions. So they're not as flamboyant as some of the, you know, things that have been cultivated and in, you know, what do you call it, genetically modified for color and scent and all of that. Excuse me, that we use in our home, in our yards and landscaping. Trees and Shrubs of Alberta, a Habitat Field Guide. Now this is 1990. So it's got sort of these landscapey type of photographs. you know, the odd drawing. You know, so again, there is lots to use here. I noticed that my maple tree already has these, I don't know what these things are called, but they look like wings. What do they call that? I don't have time to learn that right this moment. Okay, plants of the western boreal forest and aspen parkland. So it looks like this is much of Canada, and then they threw in Alaska for good measure. 1995. So again, same scenario. Tiny little drawings, black and white. This paper is more matte in nature, so that's good. Again, divided by color. And that looks glued in as well. So we're going to speed right along. How come this one looks familiar? Do I have two copies? Flowers of the... Oh! Wildflowers of... Okay, so that's the second copy. We'll skip over that. I would have probably covered that in the last episode. Let's show you these two. Are these not the best ever, what do you call them? Dust jackets. And look, even the book itself is cute. It's like a green book cloth. Imagine this is the same. Yes, it is. Okay, this is called the Macmillan Color Series, Canadian Annuals and Bulbs, Garden Perennials, and Water Plants. Anthony Huxley. Looky, looky, looky. Let's see what the year is. 1970. Again, cool little index. Oh, that's sweet. I guess it's showing the relative heights and widths. Their reference numbers. Okay, so 108. What is 108 here? 108 is phlox. Cool. Okay, so then you get past all the descriptive stuff and look at the riot of colors. Even these bulbs look so good. Look at the geraniums. Gorgeous. Okay, so this one will be set up the same, I'm sure. Cute index, green background things, and then, okay, what is this? Water plants and, oh, love it. Mother hen and baby chicks. Scabiosa. Phlox. I went out last night to close the patio umbrellas, thinking in case the wind came up overnight. And I'm beginning to think that my phlox, and it's just annual phlox. Is it phlox or stalks? Sorry, now I'm confused. Is more fragrant at night. So I might have to go out there to do a little sniffing right before bedtime. Okay, this one is, like Elk Island National Park is, you know, probably 45 minutes or so away from where I live. So that would be the closest national park to moi. And of course, if you were driving down the Yellowhead Highway, which bisects the park, you'd be seeing all the bison. And, you know, sometimes you'll see people pulled off on the shoulder of the highway to take photos if they're grazing near the fence. But, you know, is this not gorgeous too? And clearly, this was sewn in, so these pages could definitely be used in a, oh, I didn't tell you the year, or did I? Good memory, just short. This is another one of those Lone Pine publications. Well, I see 1991 there. Oh, right there. So this was obviously a fundraiser. They must have a foundation that raises funds for the park. Okay, this is kind of more like a brochure, not a brochure, but a booklet. Wildflowers of the Mountains in the Pacific Northwest. Now you can just tell by the photography that this is probably the 70s, 75. So again, I was into this back in the day and apparently bought every book that was ever published about mountain flowers. Now the rest are going to be different. They're going to, we've done all the guides, I believe. The Herbalist. Look at those end papers, people. Oh, okay, copyrights and printing history. Copyright 1918, then 1932, 34, 96, okay, revised and enlarged in 1960. And they did 12 printings, 200,000 copies. So then, additional material, illustrations and corrections in 79 and 81. So are these people protecting their content or what? 244 illustrations and the text were drawn by Clarence Meyer. Then there's a Joseph Meyer and a David Meyer. So this family knows a good thing when they see it. Okay, so let's see what we have. Another interesting index. Look at that. Those are so sweet. And the paper, and this book was obviously well, you can see dirty thumbprints there. Obviously well thumbed through and enjoyed. Okay, this is Cyrillic. One was maybe using it as a bookmark. A lot of description. Little black and white drawings. Hey, combine your botanicals and your booze. Botanicals used in wines, cordials, whiskeys, bitters, etc. Never would have thought of that. And then these delicate little black and white drawings that are sort of scattered through the bulk of the text. But of course, the gold here is at the back of the book. So that's that. Excuse me. The Language of Flowers. Now this is a slipcase. And is this not a beautiful book? I should be checking to see what you can see. Oh yeah, we're still in frame. Hallelujah. I don't know what that means. Penhaligon's Scented Treasury of Verse and Prose. But look at this. You know, there's a reason why purple is considered the color of royalty. Is that not just rich and decadent? I think it also is associated with spirituality, if I'm not mistaken. Copyright 1990 by Sheila Pickles. Okay, it has been scented for your pleasure with Violetta. Victorians were very fond of violets, and flower sellers with baskets full of the small purple branches were a common sight on the streets of London. Ever since the time of the ancient Greeks, the violet has been recognized as something rare and desirable. They are still in such demand today. That they are still in such a demand today gives us an indication of true worth of blah, blah, blah. Excuse me. So, well, not a photo, but an illustration or a painting, an illustration, a description. Same. So this is how the entire book is being set up. Quotes. And of course, the overarching theme in all of these things are the flowers. So, excuse me, I should have brought a glass of water. Maybe I'll get over it. So, you know, this book is still intact. I don't know if I'll ever be lucky enough to find another, but okay. Oh, maybe this is another field guide. Yeah, I guess it is. It's just a different format. An illustrated guide to garden flowers. And you can see that there's kind of a change in format. Sorry, I thought I was done with... Oh, nice paper. Look at these, guys. So again, similar layout and well, maybe not layout, but content to every other field guide we've ever known and loved. Okay. This one, it seems to me I ordered from Amazon. Maybe I needed to come up with or maybe it was a gift, I can't remember. Now, you can see that it's got a lovely sunflower. Floral, I'll just leave that there for a moment so you can write it down. I'm not going to try to say that. Great end papers. Oh, that's just... You can see that these are a reproduction of some very old pages. Do we have a date here or not? I mean, a lot of these things might be in the public domain. Haven't had the time or the inclination to check. But, I mean, we've seen these sorts of things all the time in people's digital sets. Just page after page after page after page. Now, of course, this book is fairly small. Where's my room? So I think we have definitely seen these sorts of 7 3/4. We have definitely seen these sorts of pages in a larger format. So, but again, I mean, a slight gloss to the paper, but just a gorgeous book all in all. Okay, this very attractive cover. Now, you almost can be sure that when it says diary, that there's going to be a lot of space for you to write and fewer illustrations. So, oh, doesn't that look sort of Art Deco-y? Okay, so I didn't realize there was all this stuff in here. So just, this guy used to write a column for the Edmonton Journal, gardening column for the Edmonton Journal. This is from, these are just clippings and some plant info from a greenhouse. So you can see what I mean. it really is, okay, this says planting schedule. It really does. And here's a grid for laying out your garden beds. Oh, and somebody did make a lot of notes. But it's these title pages, and this is sewn in, that are so gorgeous. Or even these little borders along the bottom. Very much Art Nouveau. So this is one that I should definitely be taking apart and using the pieces. And then every so often there are those kinds of little boxes of information. But this is also, okay, this is a little bit wider. So 7, so this, so because it's sewn, this could be, I don't know, this maybe is not, these are not, okay, this is connected. So if you deconstructed this book, you'd end up with, paper is fairly thick, you'd end up with this as a unit. So because that's wider, unless you were doing a landscape book, it would be too wide for the average journal. So you could easily fold it back. There's still all that writing space, and then some really lovely decorative elements as well. So that, okay, and that was put together by the Metropolitan Museum of Art. So it would have been probably, you know, in the gift shop as a fundraiser. 1988. Illustrations are an adaptation of designs from a certain book, French artist, published in Paris in 1901. Yeah. They ranged from the floral motifs of Art Nouveau to the geometric stylations of Art Deco. So we got all our bases covered there. This, you know, some of these, it almost feels like I've shown you before, but maybe I did that in thrifting videos. Oh, and I did want to say that if you were a subscriber, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, and you hit the notification bell, you will see additional books that I acquire through my playlist on thrifting. So, and that's a wide net there. So that would include, obviously, secondhand stores, garage sales, auctions, antiquing, you know, the whole kit and caboodle. Really nice dust jacket. Really nice end papers. Honestly, I practically remember talking about this. I wonder if I have it in a different format. This might have been the woman who wanted to do this. Yeah, alphabetically. I talked about this one before. So either I have a second copy or I mixed it up on the shelves. And sorry for the repetition. Okay, now, if you're anything like me, before you fell into the world of junk journaling, you had no idea who in the world Edith Holden was. And now, well, like she's certainly the most popular of the female botanical illustrators. Now, I did met, and of course, I think in North America, we pay a lot more for these books than, say, people in England do. I do have a few copies, and I have gutted one. Now, the thing that sets, if you've never heard of her, never seen her book, the thing that sets it apart is this handwritten text, the gorgeous botanical illustrations. She typically sets up her books, or this particular book, by the months of the year. So it's a combination of birds and botanicals, and people who take these books apart use every single scrap. So you know, a full page might become a page in a journal with a fold. Part of some of the smaller illustrations, let me find something like that. People fussy cut them. You know, this little sprig here might end up decorating a pot, or this butterfly moth might end up decorating something smaller. These little Latin names for the plants will also show up in whatever a person is doing. Eggs, the whole bit. So if you've watched more than a half an hour of videos, you've probably heard someone mention Edith Holden. Now, this too is a wise family, and I don't believe this will ever come out of copyright. So if you want to use it, you best start looking for your own copy. Now, this one is called The Edwardian Lady because, of course, that's what she called herself. The story of Edith Holden, and it was compiled by somebody called Ina Taylor. So it's essentially a biography of Edith. And, you know, there's some samples of her work in here. But it's definitely a biography about the woman. You know, so there's sort of a page. Now, I think that probably the descendants have figured out that, you know, there are a lot of ways to sort of monetize what their ancestor had done. So these books come in a variety of sizes. You can get smaller ones. You can find stationery. You can find sort of well, not necessarily day books, but sort of planner, calendar type things. So, and those, of course, will be new publications or newer. Okay, Culpeper's Color Herbal, or Herbal, depending on tomato. Nice illustrations, 1983, Great Britain. So it too has 1 million illustrations. The paper is nice. There's, I'd say, kind of medium-sized. Because, you know, they're, as you've seen just in the books I've shown you today, teeny-weeny things, medium-sized ones, and then some gigantic pages that, you know, you almost don't know what to do with. But of course we figure it out, don't we? So that's a good one. I think I've had, this is probably the second one I've had because I've definitely taken one apart. This Juliet Clark has a number of books. You've probably seen the one about, what is it, grandmothers maybe? Or anyway, it has more of a sewing theme. Again, gorgeous end papers, a combination of space to write, and these are sewn in, so these make great signature pages, illustrations, quotations, just those would be great on journaling cards, you know, just endless uses for this. And I think that people probably love to give people books like this, but usually the recipient doesn't have a clue what to do with it. And before you know it, it ends up in a secondhand store. Juliet Clark. This one is a skinny little book, but look at, the appeal here is the landscape format. So it's concise illustrated book of roses, 9.5, almost Beatrix Hamilton. Not very many pages in here, to be honest, 46. But it's a combination of illustrations and photographs and a few facts about the roses. So again, with a book, and this is sewn in, a book like this would be great to take apart and fold in half. Like, isn't that a perfect size for a smaller journal? I think we're getting down to the end here. You know what? I think this is a duplication too. Maybe I'm slowly losing my mind and no one is able to point that out to me. Did I not show you this last week? Mind you, I think I have 2 copies of this one. I'll just, in case you missed it. The Country Flowers of Victorian Lady. So, you know, kind of almost pretty close in name to Edith's book. But this was the one that had a combination of very ornate illustrations, facts, little doohickey swirly things, and things that you can fussy cut. And I'm positive I talked about this before, so I'm not going to belabor it. Okay, what do I want to end on here? Okay, I know what I'm going to end on. Okay, the Garden Triumphant, a Victorian Legacy, David Stewart. Just a plain, and you know, these books, again, I think people, originally $27, 1992. I think people buy or give these books, and you know, maybe people flip through them a few times, but on the whole, the condition is excellent. 1988. Oh, maybe that's why nobody. Not that much in here. So, some black and white kind of historic layouts. This guy was probably, this is probably like a factual book. The New Look of 1883, to which many gardeners still aspire. So it is more like a, not that it's a bad thing, but more like a textbook maybe. Mostly black and white, as you can see. There's something. Oh, now we've got a few color plates. Very historic in feel. No dates on any of these, although there might be a description, you know, at the back of the book talking about the source and so on. I just wanted to cut a glimpse of something. Fern color. That whole dome thing reminded me of when terrariums were the thing, and you could actually go to classes and build your own terrarium. Well, not build it, but plant it. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't end on this one. It would have been anticlimactic. Sorry. Now this one is another one in a slipcase, and it's called An Island Garden by Celia Tachther. I don't know. Look at that. People. And of course, it doesn't look like it's been opened. I mean, I clearly opened it when I bought it, but 1988. Lovely matte, creamy colored paper. And if I'm not mistaken, this woman was another sort of a modern day illustrator, maybe, in that she, okay, do we know where this was done? Oh, the reason it looks the way it does is because it was first published in 1894. 1,000 copies of the last and best book that she wrote. Where were these done? can't take the time to read all of this. Can you not just tell us where these things were painted? Holy cow, that introduction is long. Let's just be content in the imagery we see. Lovely little chapter heading. And with that stuff that I was just skimming through, they did liken her style a bit to Monet's. You know, kind of that ethereal. I mean, it's beautiful. They're just, you know, there aren't as many illustrations as in some books. But the ones that are here are they doing all of them? Whoops. So these full page ones are blank at the back, so that's good. Not that many of them though. Oh, look, somebody pressed something. Looked like a little fern. Oh, I was going to say that's pressed, but no, that's an illustration. Look how sweet and different the illustrations are. Again, I wish they would have told us. See, I don't know enough about my geography. At the Isles of Shoals, among the ledges of the largest island, Appledore, lies a small garden which in the following pages I have endeavored to describe. Now I'm thinking that this is somewhere around England, you know, Great Britain. But and I bought this and that other book that was in a slipcase at the same time. Okay, and the final one for today. And again, did I say, or did I just intend to say that, you know, I'm sure there will be more flower books in my future, or botanical books in my future, and they will be sort of dribbled out as I acquire them. I also do have more gardening books in the basement that I haven't looked at for ages. I think initially I dismissed them because they are mainly photography based. Okay, The Painted Garden, A Year in Words and Watercolors by Mary Woodin, Woodin. A gardener's work is never at an end. It begins with the year and continues to the next. And that was a quote from 1664. And is that not the truth? So somebody got this as a 40th anniversary gift. So again, we can see in a similar style, sort of the handwritten nature, the little tiny drawings that have been added in. That pear looks good enough to eat. So this is December 24th. You can see that her style is quite loose. Sewn in signatures. Really lovely. Soft and delicate is the way I would describe it. Japanese anemone. Sweet peas. Boy, that's a flower from my youth. I don't know why. I don't know, are they considered too old-fashioned, or why? I mean, I haven't planted them probably, or maybe ever. Look at those irises. Anyway, is this not a wonderful book to end off on? Maybe we'll stop there. Peony. Love this book. Anyway, guys, that concludes this week's episode of What's in My Bookcase and part 4 of the botanical thing. Now, I've been trying to rearrange my space. Is that not an ongoing challenge? So I think I might tape the next couple of episodes in my studio or in my office and focus on art books that I've collected forever. But again, that could change. So it really is best for you and for me if you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode, never miss an uploaded video. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.